If you are over 50 and you have been eating eggs every single morning because someone told you that is the best protein out there for your muscles, I need you to stop for just a moment because what I am about to share with you today could completely change the way you think about building muscle. And more importantly, it could change the quality of every single year you have ahead of you. So please, stay right here with me. This one is important. You know, I have spent many years working with patients in their 60s, 70s, and well into their 80s. And one of the most heartbreaking things I witness over and over again is people losing their strength. Not all at once, not dramatically. It happens slowly, quietly, without any warning at all. They stop being able to carry their grandchildren. They struggle to rise from a chair without pushing off the armrests. They begin to feel fragile inside their own bodies. And most of them have absolutely no idea why it is happening, or that there is something simple, something affordable, something sitting right there in the grocery store that could help them fight back. Here is what most people over 50 do not realize. After the age of 30, your body naturally begins to lose muscle mass. It is a condition called sarcopenia, and by the time you reach your 60s and 70s, if you have not been actively working against it, you could be losing 3 to 5% of your muscle tissue every single decade. Now that does not sound dramatic on paper, but let me tell you, it adds up. And once that strength is gone, it is very, very hard to get back. Falls become more likely, independence becomes harder to hold on to, and the life you worked so hard to build starts to feel just a little bit further out of reach. But here's the thing, and this is what I really want you to hear today. It does not have to be that way, because your body, even at 70, even at 80, still has the ability to build new muscle. Science has confirmed this again and again. Your muscles are not done. They have not given up on you. They are simply waiting for the right signal, the right fuel. And today, I want to tell you about one of the most powerful, most affordable, and most deeply overlooked foods on earth that can help you hold on to your strength and genuinely build more of it for years to come. And no, it is not eggs. It is not an expensive protein shake from some supplement store. It is not chicken breast or Greek yogurt or any of the foods you might expect. This food costs about $1.50. You can find it at Walmart, at Kroger, at Aldi, at Target, at any grocery store in America. And the chances are, you have been walking right past it your entire life without ever knowing what it was truly capable of doing for your body. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to walk away with real, practical, science-backed information that could genuinely add strong, independent, vibrant years to your life. Let me start with something I believe every single person over 50 absolutely needs to understand. Most doctors, and I say this with deep respect for my colleagues, most doctors are simply not spending enough time talking to their patients about muscle. We talk about blood pressure, we talk about cholesterol, we talk about weight, about blood sugar, about medications, but muscle? We barely scratch the surface. And that silence is costing people their independence. Because here is the truth that does not get said enough. Muscle is not just about strength. Muscle is not just about how you look or how far you can walk. Muscle is one of the most metabolically active, most critically important tissues in your entire body. It helps regulate your blood sugar levels. It protects your bones from fractures. It keeps your resting metabolism alive and running. It literally keeps you functional, capable, and alive in ways that most people never appreciate until they start losing it. This is where it becomes dangerous, because when you lose significant muscle mass, you become far more vulnerable to falls. And a fall at 75 is nothing like a fall at 35. A fall at that age can mean a broken hip, and studies are sobering on this point. Up to 30% of older adults who suffer a serious hip fracture do not survive to see the 1-year mark after their injury. That is not me trying to frighten you. That is medical reality. And I share it because I want you to understand what is actually at stake here. This is not about vanity. This is not about fitting into old clothes. This is about your life. And the cruelest part of sarcopenia, the slow, invisible muscle loss that quietly steals your strength as you age, is that it does not announce itself. There is no alarm, no flashing warning light. You start feeling a little more tired than usual, a little more unsteady going down the stairs. You reach for the railing a little more often. You chalk it up to simply getting older. But I want you to hear me clearly right now. Muscle loss is not inevitable aging. It is a condition. and it can be addressed meaningfully and powerfully with the right food. So let me tell you about that food. The food I am talking about today is sardines, specifically canned sardines. And if you just wrinkled your nose a little bit, I completely understand. I have seen that reaction hundreds of times in my practice. But please, give me just another minute before you make up your mind. Because what this small, humble, inexpensive little fish can do for your muscles, your bones, your heart, and your brain is genuinely extraordinary. And the research backs every word of it. Here is what makes sardines so remarkable for building and preserving muscle as you age. Start with the protein. A single can of sardines, about 3.5 ounces, delivers roughly 23 grams of complete protein. That means it contains all 9 essential amino acids, the ones your body absolutely cannot produce on its own and must get from food. Think of those amino acids as the raw construction materials your muscles need. Every single day, your muscle tissue naturally breaks down a little bit, and every day, your body needs enough high-quality protein to repair and rebuild what was lost. Without it, the construction crew shows up to work, but there are no bricks. The repair never happens, and over time, the breakdown wins. But here is the surprising part. It is not only about how much protein you eat, it is about the type. Sardines are exceptionally rich in a specific amino acid called leucine, and leucine does something that most proteins cannot do as effectively. It acts like a trigger, a signal flare. It tells your muscle cells to start the process of building new protein. Think of leucine as the spark plug inside the engine. Without it firing, nothing moves. And here is something critically important for adults over 50. As we age, our muscles become less sensitive to the protein we eat. We need more of it. And we need the kind with a strong leucine signal to cut through that resistance. Sardines deliver exactly that. Most people over 50 don't realize that the quality of protein matters just as much as the quantity. Gram for gram, sardines deliver some of the highest quality, most bioavailable protein you will find in any food on any shelf, and they do it for less than $2 a can. But the protein is only the beginning, because sardines also happen to be absolutely loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. You have probably heard about omega-3s before. You may even be taking a fish oil supplement right now. But here is what most people do not know about omega-3s and muscle. They do not just support your heart. They actively directly fight the inflammation that destroys muscle tissue in older adults. There is a specific condition called anabolic resistance, where the aging muscle becomes resistant to the signals telling it to grow. Even when you eat enough protein, the muscles do not respond the way they should. The message gets lost. And omega-3s, EPA and DHA specifically, have been shown in multiple peer-reviewed studies to help reverse that resistance, to make your muscles more receptive, more responsive, more willing to grow. Think about what that means for a moment. You could be doing everything right, eating enough protein every day, moving your body, and still, your muscles might not be responding fully because of this inflammation-driven resistance. Omega-3s essentially unlock the door. They remove the barrier. And sardines are one of the richest, most concentrated sources of omega-3 fatty acids in all of nature. Far more than most fish, far more than most supplements. And because the oil is right there in the food itself, your body absorbs it efficiently and readily. Now here's where sardines truly set themselves apart from almost every other food on earth. And this is something I genuinely wish more people knew, because it is one of the most compelling arguments for this food that I have ever come across. When you eat canned sardines, especially the ones that come packed with their soft, edible little bones, you are getting vitamin D, calcium, complete protein, and omega-3 fatty acids all in a single serving. That combination, in one food, at that price point, simply does not exist anywhere else. Let me explain why each of those matters so deeply for adults over 50. Vitamin D is not really a vitamin in the traditional sense. It behaves more like a hormone, and one of its most underappreciated roles is in muscle function itself. Inside your muscle cells, there are specific receptors designed to receive vitamin D. When your vitamin D levels are low, and studies show that more than 40% of American adults are deficient, including a significant portion of adults over 60, your muscles literally cannot perform at their best. They become weaker than they should be. They fatigue faster. Your reaction time slows. Your balance suffers. And your risk of a fall goes up significantly. At the same time, calcium, Everyone knows calcium is essential for bone strength, but calcium and muscle health are also deeply intertwined in a way that most people do not appreciate. Calcium is what your muscle fibers use to contract. Every single movement you make, taking a step, picking up a glass, standing up from a chair, requires calcium to be released inside your muscle tissue. Without sufficient calcium, your muscles cannot contract properly. They cramp, they spasm, they give out when you need them most. And the consequences of that, especially for someone who is already dealing with weaker muscles from age-related loss, can be serious. But here is something I find truly remarkable about sardines. When you eat calcium from a supplement, and millions of Americans are taking calcium supplements every single day, your body still needs adequate vitamin D to actually absorb and use that calcium. Without vitamin D present, the calcium essentially passes through you. You pour it in, and it runs right back out. People call this the leaky bucket problem. You supplement calcium for years thinking you are protecting your bones, but without the vitamin D to unlock the absorption, much of it is wasted. Sardines solve both sides of that problem simultaneously. In one small can, with bones, you get the calcium and the vitamin D together, the way nature intended them to be consumed. Your body recognizes that pairing. It knows exactly what to do with it. A single serving of canned sardines with bones can provide up to 35% of your daily calcium needs, along with a meaningful dose of vitamin D, all working together in perfect nutritional harmony. Most people over 50 don't realize they have been pouring calcium into a leaky bucket their entire lives. Sardines plug the leak. Now I want to talk about something that extends well beyond your muscles and your bones. Because what sardines can do for your heart and your brain is something that I think deserves its own moment in this conversation. Most adults over 50 carry some degree of concern about their cardiovascular health, and that concern is entirely valid. Heart disease remains the #1 cause of death for both men and women in the United States, and one of its most persistent, most insidious drivers is chronic, low-grade inflammation. The same inflammation that erodes your muscle tissue is also quietly damaging the walls of your arteries, stiffening your blood vessels, raising your blood pressure, and increasing your risk of a heart attack or stroke. The omega-3 fatty acids in sardines, EPA and DHA, work at the cellular level to reduce this inflammation throughout your entire body. They lower triglycerides. They help keep your blood vessel walls flexible and responsive. They reduce the tendency of platelets to clump together into dangerous clots. Multiple large-scale studies, followed over many years, have shown consistently that people who eat fatty fish regularly have significantly lower rates of cardiovascular disease, cardiovascular events, and cardiovascular death. This is not a fringe finding. This is some of the most well-replicated evidence in nutritional medicine. But here's the surprising part that most people miss entirely. Those same omega-3 fatty acids that protect your heart are also among the most powerful nutrients known for protecting your brain. DHA in particular is a primary structural component of brain tissue. Your neurons are partly built from it. As we age, our brains naturally undergo changes. Connections between neurons weaken, processing slows, memory becomes less sharp. The risk of cognitive decline, and eventually conditions like Alzheimer's disease, increases significantly after the age of 65. But research has shown something genuinely encouraging. People with higher blood levels of DHA tend to have larger brain volumes as they age. They perform meaningfully better on memory and cognitive function tests. They show lower rates of Alzheimer's and dementia. And sardines, ounce for ounce, are one of the very best dietary sources of DHA available to us. So when you eat sardines regularly, you are not just feeding your muscles. You are protecting your heart. You are nourishing your brain. You are fighting back against the forces that slowly try to take your independence, your clarity, your sharpness, and your vitality as the years pass. All of that from a can that costs less than a cup of coffee. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. You are thinking, okay, doctor, I hear you, but sardines? Really? I have never been able to get past the smell. I tried them once at my uncle's house 30 years ago and I hated them. How on earth am I supposed to make this a regular part of my life? And that is a completely fair question. So let me get practical with you, because this is the part that really matters. For adults over 50 who want to preserve and build muscle, most nutritional research points to eating at least 2 servings of fatty fish per week as a meaningful target. For sardines, that is about 2 cans per week. Some of my patients eat them 3 or 4 times a week once they get comfortable with the taste, and they consistently report feeling stronger and more energetic. But even twice a week is a genuine, meaningful step in the right direction. You do not have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Small, consistent changes are what actually stick. One thing I also want you to understand about protein and muscle building as you age: your body can only use so much protein at one time for muscle repair. Eating 60 grams of protein at dinner and almost nothing the rest of the day is far less effective than spreading 20 to 25 grams across each of your three main meals. So think of sardines not as an occasional indulgence, but as a reliable part of your lunch or even your breakfast rotation. And as for how to actually eat them and enjoy them, let me give you a few options that have worked even for the most skeptical patients in my practice. The simplest preparation: open a can of sardines packed in olive oil, drain them lightly, lay them on top of whole grain crackers, add a small smear of mustard, and squeeze fresh lemon over the top. The lemon does something remarkable to the flavor. It brightens everything, softens the fishiness, and makes the whole thing taste fresh and clean. Many people who say they do not like sardines have tried this combination and been genuinely surprised. Another option that I personally enjoy: mash sardines together with half a ripe avocado, a little diced red onion, a dash of hot sauce, and a pinch of salt. Spread it on whole grain toast. It tastes remarkably similar to a rich, creamy tuna salad, but the nutritional profile is dramatically superior. This is genuinely one of my favorite lunches. If you enjoy pasta, try stirring sardines into a simple sauce of olive oil, garlic, cherry tomatoes, and fresh parsley. The sardines melt into the oil as they cook, and the flavor becomes mild, almost sweet. People who would never voluntarily eat a sardine from a can often love this dish. The fish essentially disappears into the sauce while leaving all of its nutritional power behind. You can also add sardines to a tomato-based soup, stir them into a grain bowl with roasted vegetables, or mix them into scrambled eggs for a protein-rich breakfast. Mixed with other flavors, the taste becomes very subtle and easy to accept. When you are shopping, look for sardines packed in olive oil or in water rather than in soybean oil. And whenever possible, choose the ones that include the soft, edible bones. As I mentioned, those bones are a wonderful source of calcium, and they are so soft from the canning process that you simply cannot feel them. They mash right into the fish. Brands like Wild Planet, Season, King Oscar, and even many store brands at Trader Joe's and Costco are all reliable, affordable choices. You do not need to spend a lot of money to eat very well. But I want to be completely honest with you right now because I care about giving you the full picture. Food, even food as nutritionally powerful as sardines, cannot build muscle entirely on its own. Muscle is built when two things happen together: adequate protein and some form of physical demand placed on the muscle tissue. Your body builds muscle in response to challenge. If you are not giving your muscles any challenge at all, even the best diet in the world will only slow the loss. It will not reverse it. And before you close this window and say that exercise is not possible for you, please hear me out, because this is where the research becomes genuinely exciting for older adults. You do not need to run. You do not need to lift heavy weights. You do not need a gym membership or expensive equipment. Study after study has demonstrated that even light resistance exercise, combined with adequate protein intake, can meaningfully increase muscle mass and strength in adults well into their 80s. The bar is much lower than most people realize. What does that look like in practice? Something as simple as sitting down in a sturdy chair and standing back up 10 times in a row is a resistance exercise. It challenges your leg muscles. It sends a signal that those muscles need to stay strong. Wall push-ups, seated leg raises, carrying grocery bags from the car, walking at a brisk pace. These are all forms of meaningful physical challenge that your muscles respond to. Most people over 50 don't realize that even 10 minutes of this kind of gentle, consistent movement, combined with the protein and omega-3s from a meal like sardines on whole grain crackers, creates the exact biological environment your muscles need to repair, adapt, and grow stronger. Not the way a 25-year-old grows muscle, but in a way that is absolutely real, absolutely measurable, and absolutely life-changing. If you have mobility limitations or health conditions, please speak with your doctor or a physical therapist before starting anything new. There is almost always a safe, appropriate option for your specific situation, and a professional who knows your body can help you find it. I want to tell you about a patient of mine. I will call her Margaret, though that is not her real name. Margaret came to see me when she was 74 years old, sharp, funny, fiercely independent her whole life. But physically, she had lost a great deal of ground over the previous few years. She had stopped driving because she no longer trusted her legs on the highway. She was afraid to walk her own driveway in winter. Her daughter had begun, gently but seriously, talking about assisted living arrangements, and Margaret had started to accept it. She believed that this fragility, this slow retreat from her own life, was simply what getting old meant. We talked for a long time at that appointment, and then we made some changes together. Simple changes. We added sardines to her meals 2 to 3 times a week. We made sure she was getting adequate protein at every single meal, not just dinner. We started with 10 minutes of gentle resistance movement every day. Just 10 minutes. Things she could do sitting in a chair in her living room while watching television. Within 3 months, Margaret was stronger. Not dramatically at first, but she noticed it. She could stand up from the couch more easily. She was steadier walking to the mailbox. She started going up and down the stairs without holding the railing quite as tightly. By 6 months, her daughter had stopped mentioning assisted living, and Margaret told me something I have never forgotten. She looked across my desk and she said, "I feel like myself again." That is what this is really about. Not numbers on a scale, not impressing anyone. It is about feeling like yourself. It is about being able to do the things that matter to you, staying in your own home, on your own terms, for as long as possible. Holding your grandchildren without worrying that your legs will give out. Taking a walk in your neighborhood without fear. Living your life fully, not watching it from the sidelines. And all of that, for the price of a can of sardines and 10 minutes a day. Here's the bigger picture I want to leave you with. Every single day that you choose to nourish your body with the right foods, every day that you choose to move, even a little, you are making a deposit into the most important account you will ever have, your health account. And like any account, the more consistent you are, the more it grows. The interest compounds, and the payoff is more good years, more strong years, more years of independence, clarity, and joy. You are not too old to start. Please hear that. You are never too old to start. Your body is remarkably resilient. Given the right tools, it will fight for you with everything it has. All you have to do is give it what it needs. So let me bring everything together for you before we close. We talked about sarcopenia, the silent, slow muscle loss that affects most adults over 50 and quietly threatens your independence, your balance, your heart, and your brain. We talked about why this is not just about feeling weak. It is about protecting the life you have built and the years you still have ahead. We talked about sardines, this humble, inexpensive, almost extraordinary little fish that delivers complete protein with leucine to trigger muscle growth, omega-3 fatty acids to fight inflammation and reverse anabolic resistance, vitamin D to activate your muscle cells, and calcium with the vitamin D needed to actually absorb it, all in one can for less than $2. We talked about how to enjoy them on crackers with lemon and mustard, as avocado sardine toast, stirred into pasta with garlic and olive oil, so that even the most reluctant among you can find a way in. We talked about spreading your protein throughout the day rather than loading it all at dinner. And we talked about how pairing that nutrition with even just 10 minutes of gentle daily movement creates the exact conditions your body needs to rebuild and maintain the muscle that keeps you strong, steady, and truly alive. And we talked about Margaret, and about the thousands of people just like her, just like you, who are living proof that it is never too late, that your body has not given up on you, that the strength you are looking for is still within reach. I want to ask you to do just one thing after this video ends. Just one. The next time you're at the grocery store, pick up one can of sardines. Just one. Try it on some crackers with a little lemon. You might surprise yourself. And your body, I promise you, will absolutely thank you. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel capable and confident and present in your own life. You deserve to enjoy every single year ahead of you with energy, with independence, and with the vitality that you have earned. If this video gave you something valuable today, please take just a second and give it a thumbs up. It helps more people just like you find this information when they need it most. And leave a comment below. I genuinely want to hear from you. Have you ever tried sardines? Did something in this video surprise you? Is there another health topic you would like me to cover? I read as many comments as I possibly can, and every single one means something to me. And if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do it now. We are building something here, A community for adults over 50 who refuse to settle for less than their best health, who believe that the best years are not behind them. New videos go up regularly, and I do not want you to miss a single one. Click that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you are notified the moment something new goes up. Thank you, truly and sincerely, for spending this time with me today. Now go take care of yourself. You are worth every bit of the effort.